Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. I'm Beatriz Mourad, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And April Collins.
Hi there.
Today we will be discussing the 8th episode of Fruits Basket, See You When You Get Back. Warning, spoilers for everything that has aired up to this point. Some of us have read the manga, some of us have seen the early 2000s version of the anime, but we won't be spoiling anything beyond episode 8. You can find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes or on Spotify. You can find us there. Just search up Overly Animated on there. Or on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. All right. Tell me, what are your general thoughts on this episode? It's a little more lighthearted than last one, but still not, because it was very emotional as well. It had more humor, and it had more moments of haha, I can laugh. But I also, possibly cried more this episode than last episode. But that's just me. April, what did you think of episode 8?
So, I mean, I like every episode, let's be fair. I did kind of have one issue with this episode, and really that was kind of my only problem was we went through the whole what moments have Kyo and Yuki realized that they like Toru? And I feel like we've already kind of gotten that. And so, with the whole, hey, move in with us kind of episode. And so, we kind of just, relived a lot of those things. And, I mean, I feel like the show isn't, short on resources, but, for them to kind of just reuse those same moments, if it had been, other moments that they sort of highlighted that had been separate of those, but we saw the exact same ones again. And so I was just a little bit annoyed of that. But that's really my only issue with this episode. I love that, Arisa and Uo-chan, or not Arisa, excuse me, I can't think of names.
I mean, that is also her name.
That's her name too. It's Arisa and Saki is the other girl's name, but Toru calls him something else.
She calls them Hana-chan and Uo-chan.
Yeah.
And so I really loved that they they were immediately come stay with us, please, that whole thing. So yeah. I think it's great that her friends really do care about her and are reaching out to her in such a way hey, your family went to Hawaii, that's totally terrible, but come stay with us, especially because she doesn't know if she'll be able to stay in the Soma house. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of is sort of enlightening in a way where because I'm sure her friends offered for her to stay with them, they would have made the same offer if they had known more about her, her family's house being remodeled. And so, I really liked that part, and I loved the whole thing with her friends. I think I probably cried more at that stuff than, I cried a lot during this episode, too, to be fair. But, the whole friends thing, really touched me. And it's probably just because, I'm going through a lot of things with my friends right now. And so, that's where, I get a lot of that emotion from. It's really interesting how the show seems to be very in tune with what's going on in my life and, highlights on it. And I'm exactly, and so I'm can you not? I already feel feels. So, but we are hardcore setting up the Yuki and Toru thing. Wait,
really?
I know. No, that's
really?
Yes. I know it's not fair because it's only 8 episodes, but Yuki has so many more little moments. I just cannot help.
Yes.
Wow, I got the opposite impression. I thought this was very oh, so it's Kyo that we're going with.
I did not get that at all.
Oh, I feel
which
the
makes
show,
me sad because I want Kyo and Toru, but I just feel the show is hardcore pushing Yuki and Toru together. Maybe it's still very subtle at this point, but it's become very noticeable for me, which kind of bothers me considering what I've seen. I'm not going to talk about the old anime or anything, but from what I remember about the old anime, I'm this doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense that he would feel a really strong, that anyone would feel a strong connection to her, but they're hardcore pushing it. Also, I love that no one cares about Akito.
Oh my god! When Shigure had his line, he's it's good to see you reaping what you sowed. I was
exactly.
Okay, you were reveling in this.
All right, I think Momiji cares about everybody.
That's fair.
Until
Toru
we have
cares about everybody.
Toru cares about everybody. So until I see both of them turn their backs on Akito, then we'll have issues. Then I'll be worried about Akito's like survival rate. But until then,
right?
But until then, I think there's still some hope for him. But that's really interesting. Okay, we're gonna get right to that. First, I just want Michelle very quickly, like, tell me, what are your thoughts in general about the episode?
Oh boy. The first time I watched it, I felt kind of weird. And I wasn't sure why. But I think by the second time, I was like, oh, I understand what everything means now. I don't know how much to get into now because this is just general thoughts. But I think this is a very important episode for where everyone is in their relationship to each other. And by everyone, I literally just mean Kyo, Yuki, and Toru. But it is a very important episode for them in like a kind of not obvious way because I totally missed it the first time. But looking back now, I'm like, oh, this is the episode that cemented the thing. So I think this needed to be made, and I'm glad it did. Even though like not a lot happens, it's really sweet. And they're afraid she's gonna choke on Mochi, and adorable. That's hilarious. And also invite a burglar in and ask for his which, like, honestly, yeah, she would totally do that. Who are we even kidding? Oh, yeah. That's such a thing Toru would do.
That would be a thing. And she would just ask about their day, about their life story. Be like,
have you burgled any other houses?
Yeah.
What kind of cool stuff do you have?
Like,
do you want to make a trade?
Not only that, she'd be like, are the police giving you a hard time? Like, that just sucks. Like, the law.
Oh, the law.
She would totally do that. Okay, well then tell me okay, Michelle, you said this was a very important episode for Yuki and Kyo and Toru. Why? Do you agree with April that this is like them pushing Toru and Yuki?
So that's a separate thing. I think the issue there is like, I feel pretty firmly that Kyo's probably going to be endgame. But for whatever reason, like, Yuki is the one we're focusing more on right now. And I don't know if that's like halfway through the manga, it's gonna switch or something, because like plot stuff will happen. But it's tearing me apart because I really want Yuki to be endgame because he's so beautiful and he's so smooth and he's really good at martial arts. Like, no offense, but like Yuki's like literally the total package, and he's like just like a little more put together right now. Yeah. So like it's hard not to want him, but I mean, a lot can happen.
He did like wipe her tears, and I was just like, Yuki, like you. Okay, yeah, I agree.
It's happening.
I agree that, and Yuki's the one who offered like their hand. Like I agree that Yuki's like has more skinship, kind of more touching with Toru at the moment.
Yeah,
more Toru, but I will say. Yeah, more like physical, but I will say the only one who was like blushing was Kyo. Kyo was practically No, but like only with Toru. Only with Toru, though.
Human interaction.
He's not that interact, yeah. I know he only brushes at Toru, but still.
No, look. Kyo only blushed. Look, I mean, Yuki has only blushed once, which was when Shigure called him out for not being put together. When he was like, oh, he was a mess. Which technically isn't, like, could be read as romantic, but also could be read as Yuki's very invested in just being in control and having a certain way that people see him, which we've seen before. He's very much sensitive to how people look at him. So that's the only time I've actually seen Yuki blush. Kyo has consistently been blushing about Toru since the moment she confessed to him. Like, she was confessed, like, I love the cat. So, I don't know. I'm like, this episode kind of was like, for me, what confirmed to me, I was like, okay, they're totally, like, Kyo is the one that's gonna be more romantic, because Yuki, even with, like, the skinship, there's, like with the touching, there's nothing there. There's just, he wipes her tears, and it's, like, that's super romantic, but he's not even, like, he doesn't even seem, like, affected. He's just doing it by nature, just being, like, I mean, in a way, that's more mature.
He did have that line in episode whatever when he's like, "Oh, you'd look way cuter in this dress."
That's
like,
right.
really?
Oh my god, I forgot about that. I forgot.
Okay, I think they both suffer from like not being able to properly interact with humans because I feel like Yuki's probably very genuine, but he's not like. Because he's probably just had to, like, keep so much inside. Like, even, like, positive emotions like love, he's, like, he doesn't understand, like, how to properly display those. Because it seems like anytime that, like, he's, like, he's just, like, anytime he's been outwardly expressed, like, positive emotions, such as love or whatever, it's been, like, beaten out of him. Like, you can't feel these things. And so that's probably why he seems, like, kind of, like, cold, even in, like, his romantic notions, whereas like Kyo like is kind of like the opposite. Like they're just like, we just don't care about you, like you don't deserve to be a part of humanity kind of situation. Jesus. And so he's like oh, like this is like love, like, and it's like it embarrasses him because it's I'll say it's a soft emotion because it's not like I guess a strong, because like love makes you vulnerable and Kyo's all about being like tough, and so like no one wants to be vulnerable. It's
plus I would say it's harder for Kyo to mask his emotions. Like he's more of a face value kind of person.
Yeah,
right. So like when he's upset, you know it. When he's scared, you know it. He has no poker face.
Well, yeah, because he's not ever had to like necessarily. I mean, he was in the mountains for 4 months. Like, who was he like trying to keep his emotions from? Like his person that he was training? No, he has it. It's like they have like. What is it? Like social immaturity, but like they're like the opposite of each other. Whereas like Yuki has to keep himself composed and Kyo like doesn't understand like when to rein it in. So
Gotcha. No, okay. No, and I completely forgot. I mean, I can't believe I forgot. But like that moment, that was a very charged moment between him and Toru when Yuki was like, you would look pretty in that dress, and showing his collarbone. Like, how dare?
Oh,
like, truly.
How dare he? Oh,
how dare.
Please dare more.
So yeah, no, you're right. No, I completely forgot that. But I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, you're right.
It's true though, Kyo is more of like a slow burn kind of like he's always there blushing no matter what like really obvious thing Yuki does, he's always there blushing anyway, so it balances out somehow.
That's true.
How you say that.
That is
over there blushing.
he always is like that's how it works, right? Like Yuki will do these obvious things, but like Kyo's the steady blusher, so somehow like it's like of course they're both like the same amount. For now, I don't know when they're actually going to admit to having feelings. Maybe not till like manga chapter 105.
Oh my god!
Or
we're only on volume 2. We're only on volume 2. So I mean,
she's been there 4 months and she's already like this important. I find.
Oh my god! Yeah, she's only been there 4 months, which is like
4 months.
Not a lot. Like finally, we get 100% of confirmation. She's only been here for 4 months. It's not that, and even less when she was like almost about to leave. So it's kind of like, I mean, I could take for instance with Toru. It's like she suffered so much, and she probably has some abandonment issues because her father died, then her mom died. Like her family's abandoned her. Like I can understand her like gripping like. Just without even realizing it, being extremely attached to people. So I can understand, like, once there's someone who's, like, gives her some sense of stability to attach to them, even though, like, she herself never wants to burden anyone, like, subconsciously I can understand psychologically, like, why she would do that. So I understand from her perspective. And I guess from their perspective, they also feel isolated a bit. Okay, you know what? Never mind.
So we had to get into this now. So this is what I was saying when I was like, okay, the second time it all makes sense.
Okay, tell me. What were you talking about? Why is this such a crucial, pivotal episode?
The reason that was as important is this is the actual episode when Toru became their family. Think about it. Like, her whole thing this episode is like, no, like, I won't let my friends, like, even go out of their way to have, like, a tent hangout with me to be accommodating so that I won't be alone because they have their own families and I want them to be with their family because I can't be with mine. She does the same thing to the boys in Shigure, and she means it. But the fact that they have this flashback montage again And they go home, they say, and she welcomes them back. Like, that is the turning point. Like, that is when she becomes a more important family member than the rest of the Soma clan.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And it took us a while to get here. Like, it also took, like, her two girlfriends, like, kind of giving her off to them and being like, you know what, this seems like a good house.
Yeah.
We're going to count on you two to look after her. Like, it's been building to this point, but I think this is the moment when they realize that she actually is their family and she's more important than going to the other family. And she, like, accepts it. Like, she's accepting these two to be her family. And that's a huge deal. And when I realized, I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, this is a turning point. She is fam now from this point out. Like, it's official. And I think that's, like, really great. But also, like, it, like, makes sense. Like, I don't think it officially happened until this episode. And it took them making the choice for her to accept it. So that feels a big deal.
I think it's interesting, though, too, that, like Hana is the person to sort of push that as well.
I think she realizes that, like, it's something she actually could be open to, whereas she's not going to feel that way about, about Hana herself.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing that I think it all goes back to the fact that, like, Toru doesn't ever really ask for anything.
Yeah.
And she has asked, like, hey, like, I want, like, it goes back to, like, the episode where, like, they sort of, like, bring her back to the Soma house because, like, that's the only thing that she's ever asked for. And it wasn't so much that she was just asking to, like, move back in with them. She was asking to be a part of their family. Yeah. And so I think I super agree with you that this is, like, them solidifying that for her because, again, she's not going to ask for, and I think she really understands, like, okay, like, this is a Soma thing. Like, I know, like, I'll never be a part of this, but that's not the family she's trying to be a part of. And so, but she's also not going to be like, hey, do you mind, like, abandoning your other family, you know, the ones that you've known all your lives to, like, spend this holiday with me kind of thing? Like, she would never ask that. And so I think, like, Hana giving that really good push, like, I think that's great. Like, Hana is such a, like, she is a true G. She is a friend.
Yeah. She really is. But, I mean, okay, I agree. This is totally a moment where, the very first scene of the episode, the opening scene is Toru telling her friends, like Michelle said, like, you go to your family. Clearly she herself drawing the line, like, you are not my family. Like, and it's read as kind of cool. Whenever she says no thank you, there's never any music. It's always very, like, silent. And you always see the reaction shot from the other person. So either whether it's Adi-san Saki or it's Kyo and Yuki, you always see them react and kind of be like, why is she being kind of cold? But here's the thing. Yuki and Kyo may have been like, maybe this is the turning point for them. But is it for Toru, though? Like, I don't think I'll believe that she sees them as her family until she makes that jump where she's the one saying, no, I'm going to stay by you. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing when she accepts them, but she didn't ask for them to stay. It's when she learns to ask that I think we'll finally get that moment where it's like, oh, okay, she feels comfortable enough with them to burden them. Because before that, she's never been able to burden anyone until, unless it was her mom who was telling her it was okay to burden her.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I think we did get that moment, but basically, so that was, oh, God, I can't keep these episodes straight, and there aren't that many, but
so much happens.
The one where her family's awful, and they come to get her. Yeah. Like, she says twice, like, first, like, to her grandpa, she says basically, like, I want to be with these people I like. But the second time when she's on the street with Kyo, she says, I want to go home. She is making it clear that is where she considers her home and that these people are the closest she has to family. So I think, like, that was the first half. But her Toru being Toru, she's not just going to assume, oh, we're a family now. So when New Year's comes around, she's like, yeah, like, I guess you got your traditions. Soma fam, go be the Soma fam. That's cool. Like, I consider this my home, but like that doesn't mean you have to feel that way. So this was like the second half, right? Like we got the Toru half a couple episodes ago, and this is the boys like realizing like, oh yeah, shit, no, that is our home too. Like not just Toru thinks of that as home, like that's home and she's home. So it's like the back half of it. So like now they're all on the same page and they're all accepting this family they forged together is like legit.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. And also worth noting, Shigure wasn't there. Like Shigure went back to the Somas.
Yeah.
Is this kind of like kind of shows like hints where the ties lie, where if they have to choose, if there comes a point in the future where each member of the Zodiacs chooses, are you going to stay or are you going to be free? Because I don't know where this is going. This is just me like spitballing.
I feel like the thing with Shigure is I feel like he probably didn't go back solely because he knew like there was going to be like damage control.
Yeah.
Like I really do like I continue to give Shigure like the benefit of the doubt almost because like I do feel that like while he has his whole thing with like Akito and everything like that, I think that he has a lot of loyalty to like Yuki and Kyo. And so like whenever I keep that in mind, I think like he's like I'm going to let those boys go like do whatever they want and I will just be the adult and I'll just take the kind of situation. Because, like, they even, like, have a conversation where they're like, who knows how angry Akito is going to be. But, like, Shigure is still the person to, like, go and deliver, like, that message of, like, hey, like, guess who didn't come because you suck. Like, he was that. That's not what he said. I mean, he thought it inside of his head. But, like, but still, like, he was the person to go deliver that message. So I think he's kind of, like, he gets to, like, fulfill his own personal and, like vindication against like Akito, but then he also gets to like take care of the boys at the same time.
See, but that's the thing. It's like everything you said, if you had just said the boys and Toru, then I wouldn't be worried about Shigure, but you didn't say that, which tells me it's like he has established he cares about these boys. He has established he cares about the other Zodiac members. He cares about his family. He knows that Akito is not good for the future of this family as the leader. Like, that's what I can get out of this. Not once do I think, like, if Shigure has to choose between the safety of Toru and freeing the Somas, he's going to pick freeing the Somas. Whereas at this moment, I think every other Soma member, even, not Akito, because Akito's Akito, but has not given me the impression that they would put Toru at risk in order to free the Somas from whatever curse they have. Like, for me, I don't know. I just think Shigure is not trustworthy at the moment when it comes to Toru. I am worried about her safety, and I think he's using her just as much as Akito is using her. Like, they are both using Toru as this kind of pawn for whatever they want for their family, but neither of them is actually thinking of Toru first. Kyo and Yuki, yes, they're thinking of Toru first. Shigure, though, no. And, Hattori, we've seen, warn her, so he has put her safety first. Mm-hmm. So the other adult, because Momiji at the moment, I feel like doesn't really realize what's happening.
Adult.
He's not an adult just yet. So he's just like, oh my god, you're so family. Great. He's just kind of, he thinks that he hasn't woken up to reality just yet. Which I hope never happens, because Momiji just needs to be this pure bunny that just needs to be happy and keep looking like Pikachu. You're great. But
keep looking like Pikachu.
Yeah, like, this is never one job.
Yeah, no, that is his job, which by the way, like, he looks so cute in his like little dress. He's dancing and I was I'm like so mad that I didn't get to see him dance. But Shigure though, no, I love Kyo, I love Yuki. They are my boys. They're my cat. They're my mouse. I'm not gonna call him a rat because I love him too much. They are my pets. But guess what? Toru's my number one importance is the safety and well-being of Toru, and he is not good news. He is not. Dogs bite too, guys. They do.
I mean, they do. I guess I don't feel. I mean, obviously, Shigure's got something else going on here, but I mean, he also hates Akito, so I feel like I he might be like complacent in whatever he knows Akito's doing, which obviously is terrible and not good. But I feel like in a way he's still been kind of a buffer for the whole thing, which makes him like slightly better than Akito.
Right. Slightly better. Well, slightly better. Too is like, I think for me, like, he's obviously not like innocent or, you know what I mean? But it's also like, I wouldn't necessarily say that from what we've seen of him so far that he's a bad guy to like be worried about, because
he's like a chaotic neutral, right?
Yeah,
he's
a little bit. Yeah, like a chaotic neutral, or maybe even like a chaotic like good a little bit, just a little bit. Like he's on that like cusp, like between neutral and good, because he's like trying to do something good for his family. So I can understand that. And though, but like, there's still a part of me, like, I don't know, maybe I'm like Toru and I'm just trying to see the best in everybody in this show, because like, I'm like, there's nothing that will like leads me to believe that like, if Toru was going to be hurt, then he would, like, that he would still allow it to continue. And maybe, like, it comes from a place because he knows that it would hurt the boys. But also, like, I don't feel like he's had enough interaction with Toru to, like, I guess I say care about her, and that sounds really bad, but to, like, care about her in the same way that everyone else has. So, I mean, like, really, like, it's like almost a reversal, whereas Toru's like healing everybody else in this family. Like with Shigure, he's just like providing like a very like positive like means for her. Like he's allowing her to stay in that house. I mean, Akito is, but like he is also allowing it at the same time. Like he has given her a place to live. And so like, it's almost like he's like a foster parent to her, kind of. So I just don't think that they've yet formed that type of relationship.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I'll just say, like, for me, the big fear is that he's going to treat her like Kana. Because you know that he knew what Hattori was planning. He, you know, with Hattori and Kana, you know, Hattori is his BFF. So, like, you know, he probably was aware that they were going to ask Akito for marriage. And I think for him, like, my worry is that he's going to treat this like he treated that. Where it's like, he doesn't intervene in the sense, he just kind of lets it play out and go like, okay, maybe this is gonna go well for us, or maybe it's gonna go really bad, but I'm willing to let it go bad in order to see how it plays out. Does that make sense? I'm willing to take that risk of it possibly going bad. And
I feel like he's really crafty. Like maybe like, he's like learning from he's like learned from the situations, and maybe he's like, this is like, maybe he was like, okay, like I understand, or I already know going into it that the what's her face is it, I can't think of her name now. Hattori's
Kana?
No, Hattori's girlfriend.
Kana. Yeah.
Kana. That's right. So I think he knew going into like with the situation with Kana and Hattori was that like he knew it was going to play out badly, but it was kind of like he was gathering the data and seeing, okay, like what is it about this situation that played out badly, so that when the actual situation comes, we can I can manipulate it so that it can go better. Does that make sense?
Yes, but he's still willing to risk it. Like, okay, that's hang on. I mean.
I think we're giving Shigure too much credit here. I don't think anybody in the family knew what was going to happen before Hattori and Kana proposed to be married. Like, for all we know, he could be the first one in a long time who actually tried to have a relationship with somebody outside of the immediate family. Like at all, and it was like a big deal. Like you'd think, like if it hadn't worked out for other people in the past, they probably wouldn't have tried so much to see if they even could get Akito's blessing, right? So if they didn't know it was going to happen, like the aftermath, Shigure could have started taking notes, but I don't think he knew going in a bad thing was going to happen. I think that was a surprise to pretty much everyone.
Right?
Yeah.
I was just surprised that he wasn't even in the room. When he had to go into the room, and when he wasn't in the room. He wasn't in the room when Akito pulled her hair. So he had to been right by the door for just in case something went wrong. You know what I mean? So obviously, you're right. We are giving him too much credit. Maybe he had told Hattori, hey, don't do this. We don't know that. That's something, like, we don't know, like, what role he had. Just saying, he doesn't have Toru's best interest. He has the best interest for the Somas. And that is fine, but that is not my best interest, which is Toru. So, see, this is where me and Shigure conflict.
I wish we could see more of him.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
I mean, here's, like, the other thing, right? It could have been a situation where when Shigure didn't really know Toru at all, you know, he let her stay one night after hearing her sad story about her mom. He's like, oh, this girl's, you know, she's something else, maybe. He makes this deal that he doesn't really care that much about, or doesn't, like, because he doesn't know her, and he's like, sure, like, I'll make this deal with Akito, like, I don't like him, but, like, I'm pretty sure maybe it won't work out for him, and that'd be hilarious. I love that. And then, like, through the proxy of seeing how affected the two boys are by her and seeing her influence on them over time, that's how he's getting his impression of what she's like. Because, yeah, you guys are right, he doesn't interact with her that much, but, like, through seeing the byproducts of her influence on the boys, like, he's like, knows what she's about. I feel like he's coming around to becoming closer to her also. Not necessarily as much as them, but I think, like, it's affecting him too. How can it not be? They're all in the same house. So even though, like, it might be kind of questionable right now, I feel like by the time push really comes to shove, I think his decision could be a lot more in Toru's favor than it initially was, just because he spent more time with her too.
Right.
I'm not ready to give up on him. Yeah.
All right. This is a good mix of, like, believing in Shigure. This is a very good mix. I like this. I like this kind of, like, this. I like this. But okay, let's talk about the banquet. Let's talk about this, because I don't know, did they mention the banquet last episode? They mentioned events. They mentioned that New Year's was a big event for the family. But we learned it's a banquet, which is just like the folktale. They even say so. That's just like the folktale. They gather every year. The cat can't go.
That's so rude. Like, why would they expect him to show up there at all if he can't even go to the food ceremony?
I wonder if, like, there's, like, a New Year's thing and then there's a separate banquet for, like,
I think you're right.
Because it just seems dumb. Like, why would Kyo even go in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, no, you're right.
I was thinking a lot about that because I was just like, wait, like, if the banquet's just for Zodiac members, why is Kyo going? Because we already know he can't go.
No, because, how Shigure explained it was the whole clan, so everybody gathers to celebrate. Mm-hmm. And the part considered most important is the exclusive Zodiac banquet, which is... So,
like you're selling in a magazine. The exclusive.
I mean, that's what it literally. That's quote. That is quote word for word what they said in the subs. Like, I'm like, that's what it feels like too. I'm just like, why is it so explicit? Does why do other people in the outside of the like inside the family, but outside that inner circle, do they know about this banquet?
Well, that's so what I was thinking. I was like, how do you explain that?
True.
Like,
that's so fishy. That's such a good point. Oh my god.
Do you think the other like clan members are like, man, I really hope I get invited to the VIP banquet this year?
Right? That's what I mean. I'm like, is it like, because here's my thing. I'm like, is it that Akito is like, because he's the head of the family, he like, do people think that the Zodiacs are his like chosen ones that he has handpicked to like lead the family or something, and only they are invited to this banquet, and everything's like, oh yes, because they were like the esteemed, like, I don't think they call it the Zodiac banquet because that would be weird, but they're like, oh yes, those are the esteemed
individuals.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Because I don't know, the way they described it, I was like, is this some sort of like VVIP like event? Like, do the other people know? Like, is it so like exclusive, like that no one knows it's happening and they're just enjoying the fireworks?
Maybe just like the family is just so big that like, because it is like such a huge clan, so maybe like because it's so big, like they don't notice that the same like 12 people disappear every year.
Maybe. Well, and then here's the thing though, it's like, is it like exclusive? Because exclusivity means not only that a select group of people get in, but that there is a possibility that you can get in, you know? So it's like, will you, like, I don't know, I just find this kind of like, will you be the person invited?
I feel like if you're not a Zodiac member, you don't get to be a part of the VIP banquet.
I just need to bring this up. This is a beautiful trend on our podcast where we always like start really picking apart the minutia of like how this world works and finding questions that probably like a lot of people would not, because they have volumes to get through and they're so excited to get to the end. Right. We have time. We have
so much time.
We've got questions and we need answers.
Exactly.
Send out invitations. Are there special VIP invitations? Is it like every year they go to their mailbox?
Oh my god! Yeah, hoping for an
like,
invitation.
I got my invitation. Right. Like, please let there be a VIP invitation in there. Also, please let there be a VIP invitation in there. Also.
Right. I'm like, is this like a golden ticket scenario? Like, is this like Willy Wonka? We're like, will you get the golden ticket this year, or like this, or whatever? And it's like, here's the question: it's like, it's a banquet, so it's like, there are people who will cook this food for them. Like, people will know that something is happening. It's like, and that's another thing. It's like, do they have like their own like private chef? And is the chef a soma?
Well, hey, they don't like transform into their animal forms at the banquet, do they? As long as they don't do that, no one will know anything.
What if that happens? They like, all just transform.
They spend like eat mochi.
Yeah. How is a seahorse supposed to eat mochi? Like, how is that gonna, like, and here's another thing. It's like, maybe it's like a sinister thing. Like, it's like, maybe there's like a ritual involved. Like, is it like, everyone's like, ooh, the banquet.
Dances like, every year.
Right, someone dances, but I'm like, what if, like, what's gonna happen if not all of them go? Is the curse gonna get worse? Like, what happens? Like, if people start to splinter off, is it gonna get? Are there repercussions to Yuki and Kyo not going to the banquet? Is my clearly not Kyo, but Yuki.
Kagura, those are the immediate repercussions. They're both mad as hell.
I feel like there's no repercussions simply because if there was, they would have still gone. Yeah.
Right,
well, I feel like Shigure wouldn't have let them. And then I also feel that like Yuki and Kyo still would have gone. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if Kyo goes or not because
right, the cat doesn't
get a VIP invite.
Yeah, he doesn't get the invite. Like the Facebook group has blocked him basically. Like poor Kyo.
It's like on Instagram whenever you request to follow someone. But
yeah, and they just don't.
They just don't let it. They don't allow it.
Basically, like, Kyo is like, okay, basically, like, Akito's like a verified account, and Kyo's constantly trying to DM him, but to the point where he gets blocked by Instagram. Not even Akito has to do the work. He's just like, Instagram's like, you are sending too many DMs to someone you don't know. And it's just, that's basically what it is.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so, okay, well, and here's the thing. Okay, here's a question. Do we believe Kyo when he says that, like, the banquet's not the reason he doesn't want to go? Because his entire thing is that he wants to be part of the inner circle. Like, seriously, like, he wants to go to this banquet. Like, there's no way that, like, do you believe him when he says that he doesn't really care about it?
I believe that he doesn't want to care about it. That doesn't mean he doesn't care about it.
Yeah,
I think he cares about it a lot. I
think he cares about it, but I think it's one of those things where like you have to like this is where he like succeeds in masking his feelings because this is like this is the as far as we know, like this is it in terms of like being counted as a Zodiac member is getting to go to this banquet on New Year's. And so he wants to be a part of it so bad. And so he spends an entire year like wanting to go to this. And then the New Year rolls around and he doesn't get invited again. He doesn't get that invite in the mail. His request is still gone unanswered. And so then you put up like that defense mechanism, like, yeah, well, I didn't even want to go. Like, I don't want to look at your pictures. I don't want to message you. So like, that's kind of what I'm getting out of that is that he's like, he's putting up that wall and he's sort of like, he's trying to not get it, like he's not get excited so that he's not disappointed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Like, I think that's like 100% what he's doing. Like, he just doesn't want to be disappointed. And so the easiest way to just not be disappointed is to not care or to tell yourself you don't care.
Right. He's been like not invited enough times that he's kind of hardened himself and been like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But okay, so we do also learn that beside the banquet, like the one thing that the way that Toru gets them to like go home, to go to the main house and to the New Year's events, is that they're gonna see their families, their parents.
Yeah, their parents. I forgot they had parents.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so like, will we eventually meet these people? Are they good people? Like, what do you think?
they probably are, but I think part of the thing is when they find out that they are the Zodiac, they have to spend less time with their parents and move closer to the inner circle. So maybe they both have kind of strained relationships with their families because that's what happens when you're a critter.
Well, but again, Joe is not part of the inner circle. But, so his parents
he still changes. They still gotta keep that a secret, even if they're gonna have their dumb pride about not letting him be exclusive. Well, they've still gotta follow that tradition.
I mean, again, but we've been told that Kyo is considered outside. He's not part. He doesn't live within those inner circle things. So it's
that's true.
Maybe his family. Okay, because
I don't know if his family knows though.
See, but here's something really tragic that we could look into this. Maybe. So his parents were like, "Oh my God, our son is a Zodiac, but he's the frickin' cat, so we don't get any of the privileges that the other Zodiacs get because our son couldn't be the frickin' rat or something." So maybe his parents they're disappointed with him for something he has no power over. Like, for instance, maybe Yuki's parents were maybe they get a sweet ride because they managed to get the rat as a kid. So it's maybe that's it.
Congrats, you birthed Yuki. Here's your Mustang.
Right. Here's your Mercedes. Baby.
Exactly. What if it is like that? And then you have Kyo's family is even more pushed to lose some maybe they're pushed to the outskirts of the town of their inner town of the Somas or whatever the heck. And it's what if they are punished for birthing the cat? I don't know.
What I think? This is such a terrible idea, but given what we kind of know, I feel like their parents don't know that they're their parents.
Wait, what? They wiped their memories when they gave birth?
Because
oh my God.
Because
no.
that but think about it though. Because if you had a kid, even if you didn't know that he was a Zodiac member, if you had a kid and then all of a sudden someone is telling you you're you can't be around your kid anymore, they're moving to the inner part of the clan or whatever it is, that would be really rough. And not just for the parents, but for them too. And so I think given that circumstance, they would be eager to kind of see their parents. Maybe this is the one time a year that they actually get to interact with their family. And so if their parents' memories are wiped and they don't know that that's their kid, then they get to there's that separation, which would explain why there's no attachment for Kyo or Yuki, or really it seems like any of the Zodiac members, to their parents. And so then they're just kind of maybe they kind of casually know who they are, but there's no connection, there's no relationship. And that would kind of that to me explains why they're not I'm super excited to see my mom or my dad or anything like that, because in a way they're kind of orphans too. So,
gotcha. Well, but again, but you I feel there has to be some sort of relationship, because that's what.
Yeah, I think it's just casual,
right.
They get to see them at New Year's. They can ask how their things are going, and maybe it's kind of weird for their parents because they're why is this kid that I see once a year really invested in my life?
Right.
But then that would also explain why there's no attachment either, because they didn't grow up around their parents. They don't really know who they are. I mean, they know who they are, but they don't know them. You know what I mean?
Or maybe
I don't know if they don't have attachment. They didn't really react, but that could have been because there was other stuff going on and they were more initially worried about Toru. But it's possible they have good relationships with their parents, and maybe their parents just they know my child was selected for this thing that we all know about, and we don't know what it is, but that's how these things go, and I'll just hope the best for them, even though we can't be as close anymore.
Okay,
I think the other thing that kind of gets me on that too is also because whenever Toru talks about her mom, they seem really emotionless about it. They don't connect with Toru on that level either, because Toru had an amazing relationship with her mom, and so obviously it's really devastating that the year after she loses her, that like all of these things would be really upsetting for her. But like, I don't feel like they like connect to her on that level anytime she talks about her mom, kind of thing.
Gotcha. I mean, there is like you could maybe kind of like a mix of their parents do know that their child exists, but maybe it's kind of like they were willing to sacrifice raising their child in order to get them into the inner family, into the inner works of Akito. So it's kind of like Akito, like what? And again, you know, when like a mom like gives birth, the nurse takes the child away to clean them up. Maybe that's when the nurse finds out that maybe it's like the special nurse that delivers all like the special like what's her way
it's like the midwife.
The midwife,
like
yes.
Midwife.
Maybe there's like a Soma midwife that knows like all there is, like that knows the secret, takes the child, and that's when the baby, she finds out the baby is like the Zodiac or not. And then, and you know, maybe the curse doesn't happen until like when a baby when a baby can walk or crawl. Like, and maybe it's not like the minute you're born. Maybe it's like a little later. But, like, maybe, I don't know, like, maybe, like, once they realize, like, once Akito learns who's the Zodiac, they go to the parents and go, look, we need to take this child, like, it's chosen, but you can't, I'm going to raise them, not you. And then, you know, the parent has to, and the only time maybe they see their parents is, like, during New Year's, and it's before the banquet, but they get to, like, meet them and, like, interact. But, like, it's more like, you know, there is a connection, but maybe it's not as fully developed.
Yeah, I could see that.
So maybe there's that. I don't know. There's so many questions. But here's like a theory I want to throw at you about this, like, banquet of sorts.
Okay,
so,
banquet theory.
All right. What if, because the last shot we see of Akito, he's, like, really not doing well. He's like, he's leaning on something. Yeah. We don't see his face. He doesn't even react. Like, he's clearly struggling, and Shigura's just like, everything but what's that word? Like, wiping his hands in with evil intentions. Like, he's all but twirling his mustache while looking at Akito. So clearly,
rubbing a cat.
Basically, he's all like, haha, like, it is working. So, what if Akito's health is linked to the banquet? What if there is a repercussion to the Zodiacs? And maybe that's why Akito's like obsessed with like owning them, is because he needs them near him in order to survive. Oh. Like, I'm like, what if like it's somehow Akito's health is linked to the banquet? And, or like, because I'm assuming like maybe the banquet, because it is just like the folktale, I'm assuming there is some sort of like mystical thing happening. So what if, you know, Shigure is slowly trying to get people away from Akito. And by getting them away from him, Akito's losing whatever strength he has left.
I think that'd be a little convenient. So I hope that's not it. I took it more as like, he's sick. He goes outside anyway, because can we just say he's very excited to see Yuki again?
So
and
excited.
The name of the next episode, by the way, is like, I had a crush on Yuki or something. What if that's Akito and he was the first person to have a crush on Yuki?
All right, okay, so you caught on to this, right? Which is
that's also not cool.
Kagura and Yuki and Akito are like the show is presenting Kagura as Kyo's like annoying person that's obsessed with Kyo, and the show is presenting Akito as Yuki's the person that's obsessed with Yuki and is a troublesome, which is like also like the varying degrees of like importance between Kagura and Akito is kind of ridiculous. I'm like, really? Kagura is on the same level as Akito?
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
Comparing them in the episode even could be like, oh, go to your precious Akito. Oh, you go to your precious Kagura.
You can have him.
Yeah. So like they are basically being paired together with them.
So I'm just like, what's going on? Akito, like, do you feel are you in love with Yuki? Is that what's happening? Which again, I don't know what to feel from that, because I'm like, okay, is this going to be like the only kind of like gay relationship we're going to see in this show, and it's legit like the worst, most like abusive person, and that's the light we're going to see this on? Like, really?
this is the other thing. Like, I've been wondering this for a little bit now. When Akito was talking this episode, I really had a couple moments where it's like, is Akito like a lady though? Like, is that possible?
No, I mean, he's feminine.
They've been using male pronouns, like, I'm pretty sure. So that might be, but like the thing is, like, they have so many other like adultish characters that have male voice actors. Like, is it an intentional choice to use a female voice actor for Akito?
That's what I mean.
Like,
I don't know.
know.
I mean, I think Akito is like, it's true. Like, that's interesting. But then that is like, that's the question of like, you know, like, Akito sees, like, Yuki is, like, seen as very feminine as well. So I'm like,
he's got a guy voice.
Yeah.
Like
he does, though. He does. Which wasn't what in the 2000s anime that wasn't the case.
That's true. I think that's
and then the other thing. So that's interesting though too, because I'm pretty sure they brought back, for at least for like the English dub, they brought back all of the same voice actors. So
was in the English dub, was it a girl doing Yuki's voice? Was it a woman?
I feel like it was.
I feel like it was too.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But I know for a fact that his voice actor for this one is a guy, specifically because like I saw the actual actor whenever I went and saw it in the theater.
Is it? Oh, that's so confusing then. I don't know what to believe anymore.
See, but then that's the thing though. If Yuki's voice, if the only like voice actor that is like a woman voicing a man, and it's like is Akito, it kind of is suggesting like, I don't know, it's just it could be very potentially like not great portrayal of like, what are you saying about femininity in men? What are you saying about like what are you saying about gender and gender fluidity, and like why, and if Akito is obsessed with Yuki in a homoerotic way, then that is not good. If that is the only form of representation we get. That's what makes me a little nervous, because I don't remember that in the show. Like, from the manga, I don't remember that. But if that's the way we're going, that's not good.
I legit thought, I had a headcanon the first anime that Yuki was trans the entire time. Like, the entire time. Especially because he had a female voice actor.
Yeah.
Like, I was just
they
like,
do that a lot in anime, though. They do that a lot in anime.
The headcanon lives strong for a long time.
Yeah.
Just to let everybody, because this needs to be said and out, just to let everybody know, like, Goku from Dragon Ball Z has a female voice actor.
That's true.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, like, just to let everybody, that's why, like, anyway, point is, like, I grew up with, like, the English dub of DBZ, so when I was trying to go for, like, the Japanese dub, I was like, oh, no, I can't do this, because that was so drastic, the difference. Anyway, let's move on to, this kind of, like, montage we get about, oh, wait, before that, do you think Akito's gonna blame Toru for Kyo and Yuki not?
Oh,
like,
for
I'm just,
sure.
Again, back to her safety. I'm so scared. Like, I'm scared of what he's gonna do to her.
That was one of the things I appreciate about the episode. We do not get to see the banquet. We do not get to see the fallout, but we feel Yuki and Kyo's concern about how the whole thing is going while they're still at home. And that feels very relatable, actually. When you're just like waiting to find out how mad everyone is when you did something you're not supposed to. I'm sure we're gonna find out later how that went.
Yeah. This is, oh boy. Oh, Toru. You
she told them to go. She's absolved.
Oh man. I don't think Akito's gonna care.
No, he's not gonna care. But objectively.
Yeah. Objectively, but we know Akito's not the most objective person. Okay, well, let's talk about this, like, this sequence that we get with the boys, like, finally, like, realizing that
she's family.
That she's family, and they, like, go and run to Toru, like, after Saki's like, I got you, Toru, I'm gonna make him do what you always want but won't say. April, you mentioned that it didn't necessarily work for you because you thought they had already done this.
Kind of. Like, the only difference is that, so it's funny because I learned, like, I guess what that trope is called, where it's like the race for your love thing.
I thought Sam brought that up before.
Yeah,
it is a thing.
I literally listened to that podcast today, which is like in my head now too. I haven't listened to all of it yet, so I'm excited. But so they talked about the race for love, which is what is happening in this, is that they're racing home to their loves. And in those moments, they're remembering the good times, but the good times are like the exact same scenes that we've already seen with them. Yeah. With like Toru. And so, I mean, I guess like the only real different one is, well, no, I feel like no, maybe it did. I can't remember. I'm blending it all in my brain. But like the only real like different one is whenever Toru like asks, like Yuki remembers Toru asking him if they can still be friends, even if her memory gets wiped. So that's like the only difference, it kind of seems, for me. So I was like, man, we've already kind of like done this. Like, we know why the boys love Toru. We all love Toru for those reasons and then some. And so I was just kind of like, I don't know. I felt like we could have gotten something of like more substance. Like we could have gotten like an extended scene between Shigure and Akito, or like some like I felt like the time could have been better placed somewhere else, because we already kind of understand that. Like we could have just had like them just like racing off and being like, oh my gosh, I have to get home to Toru. Like, I don't care about anyone else, blah, 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 blah. And then like that could have been it. And then the next scene could have just been them storming in through the door and she's crying. Like that would have worked out perfectly for me. I didn't necessarily need to like, and I feel bad for saying it, but like I didn't need to relive those moments.
Yeah. No, it's fair. I mean, I think there are two reasons, and this doesn't make them better than having more custom animation to fill those whatever minute and a half. But I think one might be that this is what literally happens in the manga, and maybe they're like, well, we gotta do it because we promised the lady true full adaptation. And the other could be that, I don't know, maybe they were like... they were making this anime really fast, and they needed a little buffer because animation's expensive and takes time. Like maybe I get that too, but
I think the only reason why, like, because you're probably right about like staying true to the manga, and that they probably do it again in the manga, but that probably works better because there's probably more more chapters, and then there's probably like a longer wait. But I feel like we just did this 2 weeks ago, so it seems very much like stacked on top of each other, whereas probably it's like that type of thing, it's probably more appropriate in the manga versus in the anime adaptation.
Right. So this is a thing where you think they should have kind of deviated slightly from the manga, because they have shown that they're willing to deviate some things. Because remember, they were able, the Hattori episode, they were able to put things together. Yeah. And that 2 chapters together that weren't together. Yeah. So I mean, they're willing to change certain things. And you're right.
Yeah, I just like I think if like you're going like that would have been like I feel like it would have been an appropriate deviation, but unless like it whoever like the writer was just like, no man, like you have to have this scene again, like okay, I guess like whatever you want, like let me storyboard that for you. Like,
right. I will say, even though it is a cliche. And we had it 2 weeks ago, I feel like I prefer this one to the one we got 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I just think in terms of the way it was planned out, from the music to the dialogue that was the dialogues that was like being said, the voiceovers, the scenes that were selected. I don't know if they were exactly the same scenes from the other ones. I'm sure they were very similar. There was some crossover. And then just like we basically see like every shot of Toru crying, which is like,
and the door slam, that was brutal.
It is. And what I love is like the minute that they reach Toru, is like it all becomes super quiet. Like it's just silence. Yeah. From a lot of like, from the voiceover to the music to the actual, like, I don't know, it was like from the sounds of like just them running to just complete silence, and then just seeing Toru, and I was expecting Toru to be sobbing, and she wasn't. She was just a couple tears, and it was perfect. It was like it wasn't overdone. It wasn't melodramatic, is what I'm trying to say. It could easily be melodramatic, and it wasn't. And the fact that we like cut away from Toru before we hear her saying like "welcome home," which is like we just hear that, we just see that shot of her just like the surprise when they both say "welcome home," which is like you know, it calls back to, like, when her mom never got home to say that, and she never said that, like, you know, so it's, like, it was just perfect. And the way we never saw that, we never saw her, like, expression after they say that, or, like, after, like, when she's responding, it kind of, it's, like, a really clever, because it keeps this kind of moment private between the characters, which is weird to say, because usually when, in a story, you want to see everything, and it's, like, being told to you, so why would you, like, just based on fiction, you wouldn't want to give, like, you don't give characters privacy, because that's the point of fiction. You tell a story of their lives and their struggles and whatever. But for them to keep that moment between the characters, I was like, oh, that's, like, really special. That's, like, very smart. And it was a perfect end to this kind of sequence that we got. So, Michelle, like, did you prefer this to the previous, sequence? Like, are you as, like, were you sobbing, or am I the only one who was sobbing?
I teared up. I think I don't know, because I was kind of confused when I was trying to understand the first time. I wasn't able to cry as much as I would if it made more sense until the second time. But I'll say, Beatriz, you gave a very good argument for why it was actually compelling. And I think a lot of the scenes are really similar. And I will agree with April that it like, yeah, you do kind of want to get, like, non-flashback stuff, because, like, every second of the animated stuff is precious. Yeah. But I will say this one felt a lot more purposeful, just in terms of, like, Yuki and Kyo going back for this, like, very specific reason of, like, she is our family, we're making the decision, it's final, we're choosing her over the Somas. Whereas the first time, it's more like, oh, we missed this girl being gone. Do we like her? Yeah, I think we like her. Good memories. Yeah. We'll go get her back, or see how she's doing.
Let's go bring her home.
Yeah, we'll bring her home, maybe. I don't know. But this is like,
her home?
You can't let her cry alone. Of course, we should have known this is what she does. She doesn't ask for things, but we're going to do this because we are the family. So, like, yeah, like, all the intercut stuff, like, at least they go back and forth to, like, actual new animation when they're, like, running to build the tension, and they're saying stuff about how they should have seen this coming, and how, like, I hope they're not too late. So the payoff is really good, and I don't think there was that sense of urgency for the other one. So that makes it a little different, and I think maybe that does make it a little stronger.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't like it either. It's just that, like, I was just like, oh, like, we're doing this again. And don't get me wrong, like, the first time I watched it, when they, like, Toru's there and she's tearing up, and I'm like, oh God, here are my tears, like, ugh. But also, like, I was already, like, wiping away tears because, like, Hana was there, and she was just like, I can't believe you're just letting her sit home alone. And I was like, you tell them. You're a good friend. And she literally goes over there just to tell them that. Like, I was like, you're the best, Hana. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I don't think this is the last time we get this cliche. Because, you know, the show does kind of repeat its format. Like, we do get a lot of flashbacks. We do get a lot of... There's certain structures for an episode that are repeated. Which isn't, like, it works for the show. Like, I don't have complaints, but I could see someone thinking, oh, it gets a little repetitive.
Yeah. I think it was just because they were stacked so closely together. If it had been, out, if there had maybe been, like, another week in between, I probably would have been less, like, cold on it. So and it wasn't fair. That, again, it wasn't that I was cold on it. It's just that, like it really only bothered me the second time I watched it. Like, the first time, like, I was very, like, compelled by it, but, like, the second time I was just like, man, we did this already. Like,
yeah. All right. Well, let's kind of finish off with talking about this new character that's introduced.
Yes, he's my favorite. He's so hot. I love him so much, you guys. He's the hottest boy, and Yuki's also the hottest boy, and Kyo's, like, pretty hot too. He's got the tummy, but, like, I love the white-haired boy so much.
Okay, all right. Well, Hakun, I don't know his full name. I don't remember it. But can I just say, his voice.
Yes.
It's so deep.
It's so good.
Like, even deeper than Shigure's. Like, I was like,
it is
how
like that
dare
good
you?
deep.
Yeah, like, he's got that good deep. That's true.
I will say in the in the outline, I was gonna put his voice is thick and deep, and I was like, that doesn't sound that sounds inappropriate.
I like that. No, can we keep that?
Keep it.
Like, I was just like, if you change voice for another thing, it would sound inappropriate. So that's why I didn't write it, but
you still said it anyway. So
still said it anyway. I don't know. Saying it doesn't sound as bad as seeing it written. I don't know. Sometimes that happens. But
no one's gonna see it but us.
So I'm assuming you guys know. I can't ask you about theories. You guys know who this guy is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
I know who it
How
is
could
too.
I forget?
All right, I think I know who he is, but I was just I don't remember. I don't even know. I don't remember his name,
so he's obviously another Zodiac member.
Obviously, he's another Zodiac.
It's so sad because like he's the one character we all remember.
I mean, him and Kagura were the only ones I really remembered, to be fair.
I forgot Kagura.
Oh, yeah? No, fair.
Yeah, I didn't know Kagura was the boar. I was like, I had no idea she, like, had multiple personalities. I was just like, who is this? So, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. Okay. Any, like, final closing thoughts? Like, I'll just very quickly, like, just say, like, some, like, highlights of the episode for me. One is, like, Saki waiting for Toru's call. Like, when she just turns to the camera, she broke the fourth wall and was just like,
I love that. Because Toru's like, oh, I'll make sure to, like, call her. She'll be my first call of the new year. And then we just cut to her, and she turns around and she goes, I'll be waiting.
Exactly.
She's so powerful.
Exactly. She's too powerful. She's so powerful. She's not even too powerful.
I need her cloak for real.
Yes.
I love Yuki's like, where'd she buy that cloak?
Yeah. They're just like, and they're like, how does she just always do this? Like, are you doing this on purpose? Like, why?
She's legit psychic. I love it.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. And I love how her family is just like very normal. She's just like, she's just the odd one out. And I'm just like, you're great.
Ugo-chan's there with her dad, who's not allowed to drink.
Oh my gosh. Like, you're only supposed to have one. He's like, sorry. And she's like, don't you get cutesy with me. You know the rule.
Speaking of cutesy, Momiji's I hippity did.
Mommiji did killed me. It was so funny.
I love the translation because like in Japanese you'll have like these kind of like sounds, so it's like he goes like "Ittapyeon," like I said it, but he just like adds like this cutesy thing that means nothing. But then I'm like, the way that they were able to like have the bunny pun, like the translate again, A+ for the translation, like translation team, like A+ props, very big props. And also finally just like Toru's words are law. It's like, of course, yes, I 100% agree. Listen to Toru unless she's like not putting herself first, then you can intervene.
Yeah.
That is the law. What about you guys? Any like final like highlights of the episode you want to mention? Like any particular thing that comes to mind?
No, but I just like this was a good episode, so very emotional for me. So, and I think like the scenes where they're like standing on the rooftop were really gorgeous.
Can we talk about Kyo where he's like, it's like a nice moment between all three of them and he can't help himself. He's like, I found a beat the rat this year.
And Yuki's just like, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's good. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. I love the dynamic between those three. Like, I hate the fact that she's gonna have to choose one. Because I just don't want...
I kind of hope... Well, I mean,
in harmony together.
But I hope... Yeah, they're so good as a... I don't want to say that word. But they're so good as three people coexisting, you know?
I was about to like say it for you. I was like, wait, no, you're right. I shouldn't say that. But no, yeah, I agree. I don't know. I want them to stay as three people together, but I don't know. I think that they're gonna I just don't want. If Toru chooses between one of them, I don't want her to lose the other one, even if it's just as a friend. I want them all to be. I don't want one of them to lose Toru. I want them both to like.
I think it's interesting because, like, with this show, I just want everyone to be happy.
Yeah,
like,
except Akito.
Except Akito. I mean, if he could find happiness at the end of this, then that would be fine with me. Yeah, But I just really want just everyone to be happy. And whether that's with someone or not with someone or whatever, then like I would be content with that. But like if we're going to start like setting up like a relationship thing, then maybe like which is why I'm also like, man, like it's subtle, but they're like pushing Yuki kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
It's hard to say, man, because the hat thing, Kyo was listening to that. Like, I don't know.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
It is. Oh, man. Yeah. All right. So that does it for this episode. You can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Britt, aka Opal. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, Hugh, and Michael. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.